Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. 5 St. Catherine wanted men still on cops' radar. 5 men listed as wanted by the St. Catherine North Police a week ago are still at large. The men who are wanted in connection with serious crimes committed in the parish were told to turn themselves in at the Spanish Town Police Station immediately. But head of the division, Senior Superintendent Howard Chambers, reported that none of the men turned up. SSP Chambers said a lawyer representing one of the men called to say he would bring him in, but since then, nothing else has been heard. He said police investigations have also indicated that another is off the island. Police identified the wanted men as Kevin Fletcher, otherwise called Tippy, of Victoria District, Linstead, wanted for shooting with intent. Shamar O'Connor, otherwise called Zoom, who frequents Ocharas in St. Anne and Portmore, St. Catherine, wanted for wounding with intent. Andy Parkins, who frequents McCook's Pen in Spanish Town and is wanted for shooting with intent. Alvin Messam, otherwise called Kevin, who frequents Towards Park, Elderside Pen, and Williams Lane in St. Catherine, and Junior Brown, who frequents sections of Manchester. The police are asking anyone with information on the men's whereabouts to contact the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305, Crime Stop at 311, or the nearest police station. 69-year-old woman collapses at court after being fined for curfew breach. A 69-year-old woman collapsed in court Tuesday, seconds after being fined $5,000 for breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act DRMA curfew order. Beverly Isaac, a resident of Denham Town in West Kingston, was brought before Senior Parish Judge Lorian Cole Montague at the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court for indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and breaching the curfew order, for which she pled guilty and was fined. Barely able to stand upright to address the judge, Isaac disclosed that she suffers from a myriad of illnesses, including asthma, hypertension, and an undisclosed heart condition. Given Isaac's conditions, her attorney, Will Leslie, successfully argued that the disorderly conduct charge be dropped. Isaac then pleaded not guilty to the indecent exposure charge, saying, "Not guilty, Your Honor. Why would I expose myself? I am a big woman." However, Cole Montague said she had taken Isaac's health into consideration, and if Isaac should plead guilty to the indecent exposure charge, she would only be admonished and discharged. After much deliberation between Isaac and Leslie, the elderly woman changed her plea to guilty. She was subsequently admonished. "Miss Isaacs, you are admonished and discharged, and in your condition take good care of yourself, madam," Cole Montague said. After Isaac was dismissed, a clerk and a police officer assisted her out of the courtroom. But as she exited the door, the elderly woman, who had been observed hardly able to walk and violently shaking, collapsed. It took approximately 20 minutes for Isaac to settle down to the point where she could be assisted home by a neighbor. Isaac's attorney Leslie later reported that the stress of appearing in court caused Isaac to have a panic attack. Protests over the deplorable section of Waltham Park Road. Angered by the deplorable state of a section of Waltham Park Road in the vicinity of East Road and Oakland Crescent, taxi drivers and residents used old motor vehicle tires and large appliances to block the thoroughfare on Monday in protest. According to the taxi drivers, that section of the road has been repaired on numerous occasions, the last time being on December 22, 2021. However, the authorities say the repeated damage is caused by waste brews from the gully, especially when it rains. A lot of garbage is being dumped in the gully outside of the fact that the gully empties onto the road. When it rains, the garbage washes onto the road, and we are not sure about some of the things they are dumping in the gully, National Works Agency Communications Manager Stephen Shaw reported on Monday. If you throw chemicals in waterways, that results in asphalt deteriorating. Where you have a bit of road that would maybe last for a year, you get a month out of it because additives may be in the water, impacting the particular area, Shaw explained. "We are aware of the challenge. We are working on a plan. We are hoping to start implementing before the end of the month and it could start as early as this weekend. This precedes any demonstration or action by the people in that era, Shaw stated. There is a medium-term solution, and then there is a long-term plan. That will require possibly the acquisition of land, which would mean demolishing buildings in and around the area, he added. Motorists, though, complain that the state of the road causes traffic to pile up at one spot. The taxi operators, they said, use the sidewalks to avoid the potholes and traffic. Elton Newman, president of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, described the recurring problem as a total disaster. Some of my members that ply that route, and they have been having continuous problems, especially when it rains. They complain to me about having to buy parts almost every week because of that thoroughfare. I empathize with them, and we are calling on the government to do something about the piece of road where the water runs straight across the road, he said. The road conditions across Jamaica are atrocious. That is why some of the taxi drivers hike their fares to buy back parts. They have to sometimes be illegal and increase fares in even some rural areas. Another big concern too is that the fuel price gone high, Newman added. On December 22nd last year, while workmen repaired the road, one woman who lives and vents in the area suggested that the affected area be lifted. No drain no did they lead on the water. All fridge and stove wash under the road. We only left to see man come out of the gully now. The whole of this area needs to rearrange. See, them a fix it now. Them a go back a square one again. The only thing can save this area is to build the road higher, she said. A friend of hers predicted that it would be eroded with the next showers of rain. When the gully come over, water ride the banks and come over. When the people them throw the rubbish in the gully further up, everything come down and come onto this road. When the rubbish come, you see dead dog, mattress and all sort of things floating around. Them clean the gully very often, but as them clean it and rain come, everything come right back down. Them need to do something about it because for years now, the people them pan this road a suffer, she stated. Help coming for St. Mary businesses ravaged by flood water. A number of businesses in this coastal town that were ravaged by floodwater 2 weeks ago are likely to get help under an initiative being spearheaded by Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie. During the first meeting of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation following the disaster, Chairman of the municipality Richard Query announced Minister McKenzie has asked that the corporation as well as the SDC Social Development Commission do a survey of the businesses in the town that have been affected, and we're going to see how we can assist with some funding for them as well. Mackenzie, who toured section of St. Mary recently and viewed the devastation caused by the floodwater, will be back in the parish capital this week, partly to meet with some of the small business operators, Query disclosed. Several of the business proprietors told reporters that they are having a hard time recovering because their businesses were not insured. According to these business operators, they have been unable to convince insurance companies to cover their commercial undertakings due to the frequency of flooding in Port Maria. Query, in the meantime, stated that the Minister of Labour and Social Security, which is leading the recovery effort, will make grants available for homeowners and has promised to help shop operators in the municipality arcade on Main Street. I spoke with Minister of Labour and Security Carl Samuda when I was in the arcade cleaning up, and I asked for some assistance for the persons in the arcade. I saw him quoted in the press as saying that assistance will be forthcoming to the persons in the arcade, and he gave me that assurance as well, Query stated. He further stated that a survey of businesses in the arcade has been done by the Accounting, Budget and Revenues Officer at the municipality, Melissa Hanchard. We did an assessment of those businesses, and Miss Hanchard went and did a survey as to who got damage. We have passed that on to the Minister of Labour and Social Security as well for assistance, Query added. In the meantime, President of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce, Frederick Young, reported that local government ministers' request for the survey of affected businesses in Port Maria has been communicated to him via the municipality. He expressed a willingness to work with the municipal corporation regarding the survey, adding that he previously started to collect similar data from the organization he heads. I have seen in the area of need and damage between 1 million and 10 million in some cases. It is really widespread, Young stated. One of the things is that the people do business in Port Maria and live in Port Maria, and so they would have been affected at their homes and also at their businesses at the same time. And because no business was being done, their loss of income is also real, added Young. He stated that the Chamber welcomes any help for the victims whose businesses have been battered by the disaster. Whatever it is to put back the people into production, we are welcoming any type of help right now from anywhere, including the state. What I want is to have it really streamlined, where it is not duplicated, it is impactful, so that when somebody is helped, they can really bounce back, declared Young. St. Elizabeth Police ramping up traffic enforcement. Police in St. Elizabeth have vowed to increase their operations targeting black spots in this South Central parish, even as they themselves face difficulty in apprehending motorcyclists in traffic stops. Corporal Albert Simpson, sub-officer in charge of St. Elizabeth Traffic Department, reported on Tuesday that police have been using different measures to apprehend disobedient motorcyclists, who account for 40% of the road fatalities in the parish since the start of this year. They, the motorists, refuse to stop when signaled by the police, so police have to be coming up with other strategies in order to apprehend them, said Simpson. Motorcycles out there are like a weapon in the rider's hand, so whenever they refuse to stop, police have to come out of the road, he added. He pointed to previous incidents which have resulted in police officers being severely injured and even killed after being mowed down while attempting to stop motorcyclists during check stops. If you remember, in Westmoreland, a policeman was hit by a motorcycle and he died. His foot was totally severed. He was buried in Manchester, so we have to ensure our safety and self-preservation, which we call it, is priority, said Simpson. Last month, a police constable's leg was broken after being mowed down by a motorcyclist who failed to comply with a signal to stop in Santa Cruz during an operation with the Transport Authority. We have to ensure that we do our best in apprehending them, the motorcyclists, safely without any injury to the police, said Simpson. Since the start of the year, 5 people have been killed in 5 crashes in St. Elizabeth, which is the same figure when compared to the corresponding period last year. 2 motorcyclists, 2 occupants of private motor vehicles, and a pedestrian have been killed in crashes since the start of the year, said the traffic cop. He identified 3 main roads, Slipe, Crawford, and Goshen in St. Elizabeth, as being prone for accidents. Speeding contributes mostly as a factor in crashes. With over limited resources in terms of motorcycles and personnel, we still will be boosting enforcement. There will be more speed checks and an increase in the seizure of unlicensed motorcycles, he said. Simpson said the parish ended 2021 with 41 road fatalities resulting from 37 crashes. We have vowed not to go above that this year. We are going to try to keep it as minimal as possible. In order to achieve that, we have to enforce. We plan to do joint operations with the certifying officers, examiners, and the Transport Authority, he stated. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily